What's going on, guys? It's your boy Turtle the Ascended, back again with the next part of my tier list. Today we're doing mid-tier for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Again, what I need you to do, like, subscribe, comments, man, leave them. Put them down below, tell me where you think some of these characters should be, and give me a reason why. Because in my last two tiers, of course, I got the reminders on screen. Well, they will be on screen, but yeah, the reminders will be on screen. Let me know where you think some of these characters should be. I am interested to know. Let me know your reasoning. But thus far, we'll get into this video. Alright, so now we're getting closer to the nitty gritty, good old mid tier. So again, I culled a lot of stuff. Now some people might think a lot of characters belong on the same plane, but I think there are some things that these characters have that the low tiers don't, that allow them to do a little bit better in today's current metagame of Smash. So I have my reasonings and we'll talk about them. Now, again, not ordered at all whatsoever. Not at all whatsoever. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna go through them as quickly as possible without trying to say too much. So, okay, I'll just start from the top. Let's start with the king, young DDD, aka D3, aka Big Papa, aka Big Hammer Penguin. You know, all that good stuff. But DDD's actually not bad, right? I think it was. Man, I can't place his name. There's a player in the last Smash Ultimate Summit that beat Dark Wizzy with this character. So I actually think this character has a good matchup against Mario and some other combo characters, because it's really easy for him to edge guard them off stage, especially with the Gordos. Gordo setups will catch you off guard if you know them or have played against DDDs before. I also have the fortune of having played against somebody who used to main DDD. I don't know if he still mains DDD now, but whatever, you know. But DDD can be pretty slippery, can be pretty slick, be pretty sick, all in the same go. You have to be really careful about him, right? Because he hits really freaking hard. His jab kills, right? So you can literally play pretty much safe the entire time and wait for your jab to kill, or you're up air sharking from platforms. There's actually also, or at least there used to be, a DDD player in Louisiana. He was a DDD main as well, and he would do some slick stuff. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had a DDD to play against myself, he would have gotten me a lot more often than not. Right, I actually made him switch off, and he usually didn't switch off DDD. He never really had to, but he plays decently over there, so that's one thing. But DDD's pretty solid. He's pretty solid, but he struggles against a lot of top tiers. His most redeeming quality is how heavy he is, being tied. No, not tied. I believe he is the third or fourth heaviest character in the game, so he doesn't die very easily, and having multiple jumps and a mean up B makes it even more difficult to kill him. And his own edge guarding is pretty dangerous too, so he can just smack the crap out of you with forward airs and back airs, right? So character that does have some stuff. He's really good. He's got some. Okay. Toon Link, I believe Toon Link is the middle of the links, right? I think I almost put all the links together, but when I look at the way their tools operate, I think there's one clear cut better link. And obviously if you look through this, you see that he's not here, so spoiler alert. But Toon Link, Adult Link had potential. Adult Link's good in the fact that he has a lot of power, so he doesn't really have to do anything super unsafe. He has stuff like up tilt to cover his entire body. His forward tilt hits hard. He has his down tilt range, which is pretty good. Remote bomb is a pretty phenomenal tool. It's really good for his recovery. It's really good to play with as a natural item, kind of like Peach. I think the only thing that holds his character back is how slow he is, which that's why you would pick the other Links over him, right? He doesn't have a whole lot of speed. His setup game is good, like I said, and he has a lot of kill power, but he's really predictable, honestly. Like, there's not really much variation. His arrow doesn't really, it's just a projectile. It doesn't help you set up anything. Like, the only redeeming thing about Link is his power and his bombs. So he's not really the greatest character, but as a mid tier, he's still very capable of fighting a lot of pretty good characters. He's actually pretty decent against Joker, I feel, because of the usage of his remote bomb. And it's really scary for Joker. Joker has to play really, really careful. I think he does pretty decent, not great, but decent against some of these top tier characters. So he's not bad. Toon Link's a little faster. He's slightly better. I don't think he's that much better because, like I said, his projectiles are kind of the same way. His smash attacks are much weirder, if that makes sense, right? I don't have like a really good way to explain it, but I just feel like Toon Link, his damage is very, very weird. He juggles for a long time now. His bombs, I think he has the best bombs out of the Links. Honestly, I think remote bomb is good, but I think just good old-fashioned exploding bombs are better. He has the best bomb play, which gives him a little bit more room for setup. So I could see myself putting him up one tier, but I just don't think he's that much better, right? I honestly could put him in the tier above, but I just don't think he's that much better, and I don't think he's on the same level as the other characters that I have above him. So moving forward to Rosa Luma and Luma. So DeBuzz is really trying to make this character work. This character's gotten a lot of buffs, but she's lost a lot. She used to have a lot of cheeky stuff. Grab release to Luma up smash. Luma's jab used to be able to kill. The 5 jabs was pretty gross. Like, the setups you could do with Luma to Rosa were pretty crazy, but Rosalina and Luma is pretty underwhelming now. Like, the only thing you're doing is juggling with up air and using your lightness to edge guard, which there's a lot of characters that can do that better. Matter of fact, the 2 characters beside her can do that better because they have the multiple jumps and they actually have a little bit more attack power. So, but she still got some sauce. She still can do some camping. Her star bits are still really good. Down B still nullifies projectiles for the most part, but I think it's just really, really risky to play this character, right? Because of how light she is. So I don't think she's, again, as good as any character above her, but she can do pretty well, especially against the Shoto characters, Shoto style fighting game characters, right? Whatever you want to call them. I'm going to call them fighting game characters. So it's kind of whatever for you. You know, you can die really easily. You just have to play really, really careful to make this character work. And of course, somebody as scumbaggy and calculative as DeBuzz, you know, being a 50 Ollie main, you know, it is what it is, right? I'll talk about the pits together. Because the only real difference between them, actually the actual only difference between them, is the bow and side B, right? Pits, side B sending you at an upwards angle, and Dark Pit sending you off to the side. Dark Pit having stronger but slower, less easy to control arrows, and Pit having faster and weaker but easier to control arrows. So it's really cool to snipe people out of like their jumps and stuff and keep them off stage. So pretty much, if I had to pick which one is better, I would say regular Pit is better, just because the arrow control, it makes it a lot easier to play neutral. The down B is a nice touch as well, being able to use it to kind of edge guard some people from guarding ledge by just literally pushing them out the way. So I think that's pretty neat. The character overall doesn't really have much attack power. The triple jumps helps him edge guard pretty decently. He can be pretty safe. He's a kind of, sort of, not really type sortie, but he's got some stuff. He's just really basic, right? Like I said, he has some stuff. He really doesn't. He has no dirt, like no dirt. Like Pit is an extremely honest character, both Pits, and I feel like, especially in the game of Smash, you need some freaking dirt. Like you need some freaking dirt. Like pick some mud off the ground and spread it. Like you need some dirt in this game, and I just don't think they have it, right? But they're solid enough to where you can beat somebody with pure fundamentals, if that's enough. But even somebody like the next character, Marth, and his counterpart, they both actually have some dirt. Marth is down here because this game is... So to play Marth, you have to be able to land your tippers, right? The tippers are very important. Very important. Very important. But they don't matter as much. Even the fact of the matter is, even when you hit tippers with Marth, it's not any better than if you were to just have smacked them with Lucina or smacked them with Crom. Like his reward for getting the tippers is still so low. When in Smash 4 it used to be so high. You could just do so much, get so much damage, so many kills just from hitting these tippers. But in this game, it really doesn't matter. There's no point. Then the tipper is harder to hit for whatever reason, which is, I think, is stupid. But they just kind of hurt. They just kind of hold my man over here, right? I think we can almost all agree that they really just hoed Marth. And people might say, "Oh, boy, look at that tipper." No, just play Lucina. I mean, if you like Marth, go ahead, but it's just significantly better to play Lucina. I mean, it says something if Mr. E finally switches from Marth to Lucina, right? That should tell you everything. On top of, we don't see MKLeo playing this character anymore. When he was playing one or the other, he was playing Lucina. So, I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. Bayonetta has fallen from grace quite a bit. Bayonetta used to be the absolute undisputed queen of Smash 4. Completely busted character. And now she's not. So they hurt her a lot. Her combo game is still there. She just can't kill you like that. Like, she has to really get her reads. But she can put down some damage. You kind of have to do the job in like a more honest way, which makes it harder to play her because she can't just cheese you out. She also can't just witch time cheese you, because now it matches what you hit her with, as opposed to getting a jab witch timed and then you dying for it by some whack ass setup. So now you can actually fight the character. And now that people can actually fight the character, the only things this character can really do are edge guard you and rack up a lot of damage. But mind you, this character is not that heavy, and Bats Within is not as much of a saving grace as it was before. So you can mess her up, right? She's just open. She's just open. Heel slide doesn't go through you. It's not nearly as powerful. So somebody heel slides on you and you shield that, that's a free punish. That's a super free punish, right? This character's mad unsafe now, so just nothing else to say. She just fell from grace. Of course, the two heavies here, being Donkey Kong and Bowser, have also fallen from grace from their predecessors. Now, these two are also characters that you could easily make a case for being a tier above, right? Moved up one tier, and I'll admit that much. But I don't think these two characters are consistent enough, right? Even somebody like Leon, the Bowser player, he's not even consistent enough with this character to keep getting these placements. Like, once he fights top tiers, it becomes really, really hard. Or even some of the cheesy characters, it's really hard to get by with Bowser. Like, don't get me wrong, Bowser can just smack you with a lot of stuff and catch you with the side B, but that's takes a lot of awareness to understand that he's gonna do it, right? It's like playing against an actual grappler like Street Fighter or something. So you just have to be aware. And DK can actually be a pretty huge threat. DK in this game, to me, relies strictly on cheese, right? So using the things like the cargo throw to get early kills, or just side being at somebody as like a tech trap and just literally pulling them to the edge and killing somebody at like 70, using your cargo throw to go out there, jump way off and throw him into the blast zone. He actually can take Wolf and cargo throw him well into the blast zone. Even with Wolf having his jump and like side B up B, he can't make it back, and that's really stupid. But like I said, this character is mostly cheese. Now, his range is pretty good and stuff like that. His power is obviously good. And again, both these characters are super heavy. Bowser with Fire Breath has a really good edge guard and a really easy way of racking up damage. But for the most part, these characters can be very well exploited. Just because they're heavy doesn't mean they can't get comboed to death, right? You can really just combo these characters to death. Right, I've personally comboed both of these characters from 0 to like 80 or 90, and then just edge guarded the crap out of them because their recoveries suck. So, moving on to K. Rool. K. Rool, the last of the super heavyweights. K. Rool is actually pretty decent. It's pretty slick. There was that one K. Rool that beat Samsora in a game. Didn't win the match, but in the game. The character can trick you up. It's, again, one of those matchups you really need to know. You need to know how to deal with crown setups. You need to know how to play with crown yourself so that when he messes it up, you can get it back. You need to know how to play around neutral B, the cannonball, and the falling through the platform and keeping it and inhaling you and then spitting you out like a grab or some sort. The armor's annoying as heck. Holy crap, that armor is so stupid. And he has a counter. Like, why? Why does a heavy have a counter? A super heavy at that. So, like, he can get away with a lot of stuff. His recovery can be very dangerous. A little bit tricky to edge guard. You gotta hit him from the side. So, he's not that bad. Again, another matchup that you need to know up here before you really get set in there. Corrin is another character that's fallen from grace. I think Corrin is one of the worst swordies in the game. Now, Corrin still has the range, right? Corrin still has the pin, insta-pin. Corrin still has the neutral B. Corrin still has the combo game, right? The phenomenal combo game with like there down tilt into like up air into forward tilt, not forward tilt, but forward air into more forward airs into like up air. Up B can smack you. That back air is still strong. The counter is still pretty good, just not absurd. Like, the character can still do some stuff, right? But it's just not really worth playing Corrin over the rest of the sword characters. So that's why I have Corrin down here. But Corrin's another character that if somebody really, really could like pick up and do something with the character, I could see Corrin being maybe like one tier higher, maybe, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon, right? Lucario, another character that has fallen from grace from being, I would have said, high tier in Smash 4. Character's pretty good. The new mechanics of being able to just immediately jump out of Aura Sphere is actually insane. It's actually insane. So you don't have to sit there and cancel it, then jump shoot it. You can just immediately jump shoot it while you're charging it. So it's pretty disgusting. But the ways that the stuff like get up attack and all that works really hurt Lucario. Like, the game hurt Lucario. So you can't like camp the ledge and force people to choose with a big Aura Sphere where you charge at the ledge and then the the hitbox of the charge would smack people sitting on ledge, and if they try to do any type of get up, they would get hit by it, or you would just get sucked into it and then get hit with cancel back air. But this character's been hurt pretty bad by just the system mechanics, and also the aura doesn't seem to be as powerful, since rage isn't as powerful in this game as it was in Smash 4, right? Like, he can still do the things he used to do, but it's just he doesn't have those guaranteed situations, right, where he could just, again, hold it, shoot a strong aura sphere and kill you. Like, you actually have to kill them, right? You have to actually try to kill them, so that makes it a little bit more difficult to play Lucario. And again, on top of the game mechanics, it's not as good to play this character. And I mean, it's always been kind of inconsistent to play a character whose whole gimmick is getting stronger by taking damage, right? Just in general, it's like, I gotta put myself at a disadvantage to be strong. So that's with him. Mii Sword Fighter is a character that is in my personal arsenal, actually. I know I said in the criteria video, if you watch that, which you need to understand why I have people, right? But Mii Sword Fighter, I have to honestly say he's the worst of the Miis. I have to. I like him a lot. I think he's really good at zoning. I think Chakram is one of the best projectiles in the game, like top 10 projectiles, maybe top 5, because of the angling you can do it at. The slow Chakram gives you setups and combos, gives you edge guards, gives you 2 frames, and then neutral B, the Gale is gross. Easy kills, right? Gale into up air, Gale into hero spin, up B3, which is really nice. I think the down tilt is pretty good. Down tilt is nice. I really like his down tilt. And has decent combos, but like, the character's really slow. He's the slowest of the Miis, I believe. And even though his zoning can be good, it's not as good as the rest of them, right? And while he can kill, if you're using Gale, Gale's kind of slow. And honestly, in terms of a sword fighter, he has the least amount of variability, right? If I could play Mii Brawler or Mii Gunner, you actually don't know what I'm going to go, because all of their moves are pretty good. Mii Sword Fighter, you pretty much know what I'm going every time, right? You know I'm going Gale, and you know I'm going Chakram for sure, right? And 9 times out of 10, I'm either going counter, which Mii Sword Fighter's counter is bad because for some reason it sends them upwards, which is stupid. So most of the time I'm probably using the reflector, the fake cape, right? So I can turn you around or reverse zone you, right? I pretty much only play Mii Sword Fighter as an anti-zoner in the first place. But in that regard, Mii Sword Fighter is really good, right? I think Mii Sword Fighter does really, really well against like Rob or Pac-Man or the Lynx. Like, Mii Sword Fighter can mess you up if you don't know, if you're not careful. Like, the down air can do some work. But this character overall, he fills a role, right? But there's a lot of characters that can do that role and more, right? So Lucas sucks. Anyway, moving on. Just kidding. Lucas, if any of you guys out there play Street Fighter, Lucas reminds me of Rose. Like a character that's meant to zone, but is also not really good at zoning. If that makes sense. Because your whole game plan revolves around spacing your PK fire and using Snake or your Zaire, right? So you're really just using those 2 tools. You may get a small string here and there. Maybe you get some neutral wins with your magic range with the kicks and stuff. You can do some slick little combos and carry them across with the instant air Zaire, and that's cool and all, but again, when your role is mainly to zone, by design, looks like. Or at least that's what it looks like to me when I see Lucas's play, even better Lucas's play. They're all really focused on trying to zone. Right, so, and there's better zoners, right? And that's why he's here. Mewtwo, there are two reasons why he's here. Number one, he's light. Number two, footstool disable isn't as good in this game. And with him being so big and so light, it's like the same story with Rosa Luma. You have to play so well to not lose. I mean, your Shadow Ball is still very good. Your Shadow Ball, I think, is actually better because it's easier to combo into. You can actually combo from a fully charged Shadow Ball or even just a tap Shadow Ball with a little practice. And one weird thing is that they changed the sweet spot hitboxes on his tail, because in Smash 4, the sweet spot hitboxes were at the end of his tail. Now they're at the base. So now you have to be up close to get those same type of combos and stuff like that, and that's disturbing to me. Now, he still has his combo game and all that, but he has to play so much more risky, and being light and big is not a good combination. So, now moving on to Robin. I honestly think Robin is an extremely slept-on character. Robin can be really, really good and really, really bad at the same time. Right, having permanent Levin Sword is actually really, really nice. Levin Sword Nair is one of the greatest tools that has ever been given to a character. I think that mug is sick. Right, really easy to pressure on shield. The projectiles are really good. Side B stays out forever. Right, it's basically a better PK fire. What else? The book mechanic and being able to basically throw spells, then get your books and use them as items is pretty cool. I just don't like the fact that you run out of spells, right? It kind of hampers the character, because for those periods, there's certain things you can't do and you just have to run away. But yeah, the character can dirty you up and smack you up with some slick stuff, but there's better zoners, more consistent zoners. Duck Hunt, more or less the same story. I do think Duck Hunt's kind of slept on. Could honestly go up a tier. Same thing with Robin, honestly. They could both honestly go up a tier. But it's just not there, right? The matchups against the other characters, you just don't see it. Or at least I just don't see it. So I think this character, Duck Hunt, is pretty cheesy. If you play around Can well, there's not really much he can do against you. Side B can be a nuisance because Side B gives him free combos, like super hella free combos, and Gunman can be a pretty decent tool. You just have to play around him though. Like he's kind of easy to play around, but it's something that you definitely would have to like lab out a little bit before you actually like fight him in tournament. So if you're having trouble with the Duck Hunt, just getting used to how players control Duck Hunt's projectiles, and once you get used to seeing them and what they do, it's not that big of a deal. Ridley, now, what's his freaking name? He was a former Ryu player in Smash 4 and became a Ridley player here. And he thinks Ridley is so strong because of the plank strategy that you can do. Pretty much just side being the ledge over and over again, because if anybody challenges it, most characters, they're just going to get dragged off stage. So he can be really, really cheesy and really, really dangerous. He hits pretty hard. His Nair is amazing. His taunt's amazing. Just, standing up on you, dumb A. But, Neutral B is pretty good at edge guarding and racking up damage. It might be just as good, if not better, than Bowser's, because you can throw it at a particular angle where nobody can really grab ledge. They're just going to get hit by fireballs. And it can gimp people because it can just go down that low, right? He has multiple jumps, which is pretty cool. His range is pretty good. Has a solid back air. Has a solid forward tilt. That forward tilt is nice. The forward tilt is really good. The character can be really, really solid. He's just really big. He's not as heavy as like the super heavyweights. He's not in that same class. So I think that's a hindrance. on top of, I think his game plan revolves a bit too much around side B. I think that's really your main tool to do most of what Ridley does. So he struggles. He struggles. But moving to Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is actually a pretty buffed character, right? You could almost put this character a tier above, but I don't think so. The character is obviously top 5 lightest characters in the game, right? Dies really, really easily. One thing that's really good about Jigglypuff is that her air mobility is super duper duper high. Pound is a very threatening air mobility move that can break shields or destroy shields just in general. Her moves are pretty good. Her ability to just kind of float in and out and just keep staying in the air and throwing out moves and making you guess, oh, you want to shield this? Pound. And then hits you with another move when you try to get out of the shield because she's plus on shield, I believe. So the character can be very disgusting if you're not paying attention. Like, she makes you play Smash. You have to play with your movement in order to beat Jigs consistently. But there are a lot of characters that can do that. Hero. There's a player in our region that plays Hero, and I've been watching a few of the sets. I kind of think Hero could be also slightly higher, but another problem, the main problem with Hero is consistency, right? You're relying strictly on RNG with the dial, the menu read, the down B. That's pretty much this character's entire game plan. The character does have decent power on his own, right? If you get the right RNG, it's great, right? But if you get the wrong RNG, it's horrible. So, but the normal spells that this character has aren't bad either, right? Being able to up B out of shield and get like tipper up smash and get crits to kill people super early, right? And if you get your psych up and your speed, or you get your bounce, or you get lucky and immediately dial a zoom, the projectiles you can throw out of the menu, like all that stuff is really, really good, but it's so inconsistent, right? One way to really beat this character is just kind of get the lead and run, right? But the character is not bad at fighting up close either, right? It's still a swordy, and the sword attacks have pretty good range, but like some of the moves are just really slow. So if you play patient enough, you can beat this character. And I say that from experience of fighting several Hero players myself. This character can just RNG for the dub. So moving on to Banjo. Banjo is basically side B. It's just Wonder Wing. It's a super annoying move. The grenade is actually pretty good. You can actually think of this character like a discount Snake, right? Banjo's grenade is nice. The neutral B can lead to some combos, some pretty slick strings. And like I said, Wonder Wing is basically this character. It's a godsend for this character, honestly. But Banjo's pretty hefty, but his weakness is he's not really going to outzone anybody. His moves don't have that much range, and he's honestly pretty laggy outside from the neutral B, down B. That's pretty much all you're going to be using. So I don't think this character is very good. I do think you can lose this character very easily. Again, discount Snake, so you can do some setups, but there's not too many of them out there for you. Richter / Simon. So Belmonts, they're just really freaking easy to edge guard. They kind of remind me, I can almost call them a slightly better Little Mac. They play the ground game very well, but they throw projectiles as well. So they have a little bit more influence. But the character, even with the whip, being able to hit multiple angles, the character just gets thrown off stage and dies really, really easily. And it sucks, right? It really does suck. But the character can just kill you at the same time. So you can't sleep on this character. You can't sleep on this character. There's not really much to say about him. right? Projectiles, whip, right? He plays a really nice spacing game. I could actually call this character a worse Min Min. Okay. Moving on to Zelda. Zelda is another character I could put in upper tier. I just think controlling the character is very inconsistent, and going up against top tiers or high tiers and some upper tiers, it's pretty much a struggle for her, right? Now she hits really hard. She zones okay-ish. Like, your game plan is pretty much Phantom Knight and Din's Fire, which is down B side B. So, I mean, she can anti-zone a little bit, obviously, with her neutral B, but the character is not really meant to fight up close. She's got some pretty decent range, though, right? But I think there's a lot of ways around this character, and ultimately she's just really, really cheesy. Doc. This is probably the highest Doc has ever been. No, I lied. He was higher in Melee. Doc is good. Obviously a worse regular Mario. He has some pretty good combos and he can kill you. He's pretty good at killing. That Tornado is really strong. Hits really, really, really hard now. So he can just kill you, and he still has the Mario-rific combo game, so it's really hard not to put this character in upper tier. It's just his recovery's dog. Right? He can play Smash well, but again, knock him off stage, it's pretty much over. Wait for him to Tornado, and then you smack him. He dies. Right? Really easy. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about Bowser Jr., the character I actually intended to main in Smash 4, because I was like, man, that's my favorite Mario character. I'ma play him, and I didn't like him because of his mechanics. More of a hit and run style character. The clown card is a pretty neat idea though. Clown card's pretty cool. It can smack a lot of people, trip them up because of the properties of it. The cannonball can be played with pretty well. He has some pretty slick setups. Using the up B to drop the card and then using the hammer after is pretty slick. But the character, he's it's not even that he's that bad. It's just things don't seem to work properly sometimes. Like, you get lightly tapped enough and you get gimped from your card. Like, you don't get it back, which really sucks. And then sometimes you clank with things that shouldn't have clanked with your card, and it really sucks, right? I mean, at least you have like down B. Down tilt's pretty cool with the lick with the cart, and forking people is pretty hilarious, but I think this character is where he belongs. I think he is mid tier. This is a character I actually wouldn't consider putting any higher, but also not any lower. So that's all for the mid tier, folks. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so you know when the next episode comes out. Tell me where you think these characters should be and why. I'm willing to listen, but I'm not changing. Right? So until next time, catch you later. Peace.